Hi, this is Jess Given with GDG Healthcare Architects, here to kind of break down the process of what a project team consists of. So years ago, I used to do residential work, and it was an owner and maybe an interior designer, and that was all we worked with. And that was quite different from working in a healthcare environment. So in a healthcare environment, you're dealing with almost everybody you're dealing with is licensed in some capacity. So I'm just going to break down what that capacity is and what those project teams consist of. So project team starts with an owner. That's the person or the entity or the group that owns the facility that we're doing work in. So it could be a hospital, and it's the owner of that hospital. And then representing the owner is their project manager, their designate. So the person who's going to be managing the project on their behalf. And then you also have end users. So you have the doctors, you have the nurses, and you have the other stakeholders that are going to be occupying this space. And so they also have a say in how the design of this space is going to play out. And then you have equipment vendors. So most hospitals have contracts with GE and Philips and Steris and Siemens that can provide their CT scans, their MRIs, fluoroscopies or x-rays. So all that large imaging equipment, those are usually on a contract base that the hospital has directly. And so those teams need to be brought in because all these participants need to add their own input so that we can have a successful design at the end of the project. Continuing with the project team is the design team. The design team consists of the architect, the structural engineer, the mechanical engineer, the electrical engineer, and there could be multiple other engineers too, depending on the scope of what that project is. But it'll consist of all the engineers, and the architect is designated as the design professional of record or the DPOR. So that is their job to really kind of corral the cats, keep everybody in the same area to be able to continue the content and keep the project moving forward. And then you have the construction team. You have the construction owner, the owner of the construction company. You have their supervisor and maybe their assistant who's working on the project, their site project manager. And so, and then they'll have inspectors too that work with the contractor. And then you have the inspection team. You can have multiple inspectors on a project. So some inspectors are really certified to inspect, say, medical gases, and another inspector might be certified just to inspect welding. So you have different inspectors, and that's the inspection team. And then you have specialties, which could be anything from door hardware specialists. So say, for example, you want to have a very specific type of door hardware throughout your entire facility. So they'll come in and they'll give you the specs for all the door hardware that's used in the project. Or fire alarm systems, that could be anywhere from Siemens to, there's so many different types out there. And the FFE vendor, so they're the ones that are actually going to fill your hospital with all the stuff. You have your sharps containers, your crash carts, your equipment trays, all the stuff that the nursing staff need. Somebody's got to identify all that stuff and list it so it can be procured for that space. So the project team really can consist of, compared to a residential project where you have an owner, an interior designer, a project team in a hospital is going to consist of, could be as many as 30 people, all contributing their content to help steer what would be the most efficient layout for the space, for the doctors and the end users, and certainly keeping costs for the owner. So